Windows XP, you know, like even if I could do Windows 7 again, that would be cool. I do have a Windows 7 system. I still have Windows XP install disks. Um, like I said, I just don't have a feasible way to do much else at the time, you know, at this moment. I mean, and I don't know. I just get tired of this shit. Windows 11, even though I figured out the trick to make it stop sodding your fucking computer on purpose to force new updates on you, it still is sneaking in updates that don't have to restart the system. And that fucked me over for the last 4 months now. I can't connect directly to Wi-Fi anymore because it had to be something they did. I can't even plug that fucking thing in through Ethernet anymore. I have to use a Wi-Fi bridge. Okay, well, conveniently enough, my phone's Wi-Fi drops out every few seconds, which makes most shit almost impossible. If it's, you know, downloading, you know, YouTube DL, you know, YTDLP, YouTube DL, you know, or like, you know, WGET or something like that, where I can just tell it to just retry infinitely, essentially, you know, then yeah, that'll work. But most stuff is like almost impossible, right? Like uploading these videos, I guess it's kind of convenient. I'm limited to 15 minutes because even though a 3 hour video for me would only be, you know, God, you know, 20, 30, 40 megabytes or something, like very, very small. I've years and years, I have like the smallest compressed video files that any of these fucking hosting services allow, you know, and yet they want to try to tell me I'm limited on how many I can put up. How about just do a file size limit, right? Or the amount of file you can upload in a day, and I could put up 1,000 videos, you know. Well, they want to censor me, but even YouTube, you know, it just can't really handle it. But I mean, if it's a 10 megabyte video, or I think these are like 5, then that's, you know, those will actually go up in time. But, you know, I've been thinking about solutions to that, and I don't know why I never knew about this. I was aware of on the go cables for smartphones, but I never knew they made them where it was like you plug it in to the phone and then it's an Ethernet cable. Well, what I'm seriously considering is trying that because I have a hard line. I just, like, even like I tried everything with this piece of shit. Wi-Fi stopped working. Uh, Tethering stopped working. Even the network I had used off of my phone in the past doesn't work anymore. Tried making a new one with it, doesn't work. I tried plugging in Ethernet, doesn't fucking. I have no clue what the fuck they did. My guess is it won't work until I restart, which is the problem. I don't want to. I can't afford to. Um, but it'll work through a Wi-Fi bridge, and it's a proxy, and that fucks up its own shit. But whatever. But what I'm thinking is maybe I can do the hard line through one of those on the go cable Ethernet things to the phone. And then at least, you know, the phone's connection won't drop out anymore. And then maybe it'll be consistent and then I can do shit, you know, like regular again. Like I can't play online games or nothing, stuff like YouTube that's progressive download works, but you know, it's downloading chunks at a time, so a few seconds is all it needs to get enough to, you know what I mean? But most stuff, if it requires a constant connection, I can't use it. But maybe that could be a solution. I don't know. But as far as having, you know, like computer security, you know, years ago, as I had mentioned before, and I used to do no script, request policy, ad block. That was the trifecta all the dorks used. Which you're not going to be able to get away with that anymore. It'll detect you're blocking their analytics and this and that. It just won't let you see the page, right? What does that mean? Well, it means that they see that information is useful, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't just arbitrarily stomp you. But you know, all this different shit with the viruses and all that. You know, you can really sandbox yourself like I used to do, as I mentioned, no script and all that. Something I used to do is I had the computer that was connected to the network, and then my kind of like actual computer and files I wanted to put on it, like got, you know, basically mini sneaker net or whatever, and you know, put it on a flash drive or something, and then put it to that computer, right? It's like, so that first system was basically like a Sentinel, right? Or it was like, you know, if it got fucked up, I'll just reinstall, right? But the idea is put it on there, do preliminary scanning and all that, kind of verify it's not bullshit, and then put it on something to put to the other one. I'm seriously considering going back to that, but part of it is that I need my system to stay up, but the internet being fucked up. Well, if I had another computer with a different version of Windows, maybe it could, it could connect to Wi-Fi, and so do that, truck stuff back and forth on a USB drive or whatever. Or maybe I could do a bridge via that, and again, if it's not dropping out constantly, maybe it would solve that. But more than likely, I would prefer to have my main system offline as much as possible, because that's what I used to do in the past, and just it's like updates and all this. I never did auto updates. I did manual updates, and this is part of it, so I can vet everything ahead of time. And even if something compromised that computer, it was sacrificial anyway. And I wouldn't keep anything when it needed other than the browser or whatever. But this is why they want to move to UEFI and all these other advanced new features, is to really take control away from the user. So because an idiot would fuck their shit up by accident, I have to be less safe. So like that one dipshit I mentioned previously where, he plugs into a DMZ and gets a bunch of viruses right away. It's like, well, you know what? I should have the ability to choose that. But a lot of these viruses on older versions of XP or like this or that, well, but it was so unrestricted to the user that you could basically just get rid of the virus yourself in real time, right? The main thing they do is they get around the restrictions you have. There's stuff in Windows 11 that it won't let me delete, no matter what. Or if I try to delete it, recreates it. It's like, dude, this shit is a virus. You know what I mean? Um, and part of the reason I would like to take it offline, and I guess I should have thought about this 3 years ago when I got that piece of shit. Is so, I mean, well, if it's not connected to the internet, it can't update, can it? Right? Because I bought it, it worked fine, and they just started breaking it more and more. And more importantly, they want to silently insert shit, but also remove stuff that used to be there without my permission. And, again, telemetry doesn't work on something that's not connected to the internet. Um, are there ways that this or that could be done? Okay, yeah, sure, I guess so. Like I've considered having a separate network, like off of the main one. And it's like, well, somebody could get into that and traverse through. And it's like, yeah, well, yeah, but they could do that even if I didn't do that, right? I mean, every wire is an antenna, I mean, Snowden showed that they can fucking, got like air gap technology where they can take stuff off the computer even if the fucking thing's not turned on, right? But yeah, all this locking down shit, like even this smartphone I got, $40 Android phone, it doesn't even have a removable battery. I mean, technically it is. It doesn't take that much effort to change it out, but they make it annoying enough that your average user is not going to be able to do it. And then good luck finding replacements for a $40 phone. But that's why I like the old computers. BIOS, you know, everything was right there. Older computers, stuff was big enough that I would literally remove the headphone jack or the speaker or this or that. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm wired in, like even if it's internet connected, but if I'm on the local network through a wire, and all of the shit that you might want to use to surveil is literally physically ripped out of the thing, there's not a whole lot you can do at that point, you know. But fundamentally, it's about privacy and it's about freedom. And it's not about whatever narratives they want to come up with. Um, A confounder I've started thinking of, because I was going to try to go some places this year, but the problem is all these places they don't even want to do it at the state level. They want to do it federal, make it basically illegal to use the internet without handing over your ID. And now I'm wondering, well, what happens if, I mean, I can use it right here. What if I go to another state and now all of a sudden my phone won't work because it's popping up some shit that I have to identify myself? So now I'm locked out of my own shit just because I went somewhere else. Because remember, geolocation on your IP or on the Wi-Fi or cellular or GPS or whatever, kind of hard to avoid that. But then also, just like they're going to force this new Google Play Store restriction shit, um, if it's connected to the internet, they're going to force that through Google services. And I don't have a rooted phone. That's something else I'm looking into. I've never really worried about in the past because, again, even if you're a technological, nerd like I am, you just would never think it would go like this. You might be able to see the writing on the wall, but you'll never be able to read it that fucking well. You know what I mean? So that's something I'm legit looking into. But I mean, if the apps can just disable you if you're not using the version off the Play Store, I mean that kind of stops mattering too, right? But then I was thinking about how might I be able to circumvent that? Let's assume it's to a level that's not federal, so it's not everywhere. Something I considered was having a remote virtual network client. So set up a virtual network, client server on a computer that's connected to the internet in a place where the restriction isn't there, and then basically, you know, remote connect through the other device wherever I'm at. And so now what I'm accessing on the computer is it's remote to where I'm at that moment, but it's local to wherever doesn't have that restriction. So it's almost like making your own VPN, except I don't know if that makes sense or not. I guess it's basically exactly a VPN, but like you made it yourself. But then I was like, well, maybe that wouldn't work. Because again, still fundamentally, the smartphone or computer or whatever that you're, at that moment is detecting where you're at right now. So it might probably, you know, wouldn't even matter if you're, you know, trying to connect through a virtual private network like that. I don't know. There's just starting to be less and less solutions, and that's my main thing. I'm not doing this, okay? I'm not complying. I've been through enough in life. You humans aren't pushing me around anymore, okay? I'm not interested what a bunch of statists, what a bunch of societalists, what a bunch of fucking corporatists had to say about shit. All right, I'm not genuflecting anymore. All right, this fear instilled, stuff you humans do with your terrorism only fucking goes so far. And it's like Solzhenitsyn said, you only control a man so long as you don't take away everything he has. And once you've done that, you don't control him anymore. He's free again. Yeah, like it's kind of cringy because it's corporate shit, but like in Fight Club, the corporate propaganda, predictive programming shit, they always still, nevertheless, will insert something in there that's actually true. Probably as a way to try to get you to avoid it because, oh, it was in the propaganda movie, and so now your brain shuts off. But that is true. What you own ends up owning you. Fundamentally, it's something holding you down, right? Not because there's something wrong with it, but because of how humans will weaponize that. And as you see with computer technology and all this shit, dude, used to an email address was optional or not even on the paperwork to sign up an account or something or whatever in real life. Now everything is like demanding an email address, demanding a phone number. And it's just weird to see everything invert. When I was a kid, I was a loser for using computers and the internet. Now I'm a loser for not wanting to be on social media or whatever, right? Now I am, for a while at least, I'm about to basically black myself out and just not necessarily saying I won't be on the internet, but I'm not going to do videos or interact a whole lot because I just want to just disconnect, like kind of pseudo literally, because I just need a chance to fucking collect myself. I'm tired.